Hotep, Black Power, giving honor to the Creator, giving honor to the ancestors. Also, as always, honor to my sister, Chief of Staff, Brother Harris Abdul, the Street Law Soldiers, my father, my in-laws, and all of the ancestors, as well as all of my subscribers and all my people that are in my circle, those known and unknown who are fighting for the liberation and salvation of our black nation. Today, what I want to talk about is the different relationship levels that we have with one another, significant others, community, and the world. First of all, the relationship, we have to build a relationship with ourselves. We call ourselves having a personal relationship or spiritual relationship with whatever you want to call a higher power, God, Jesus, whatever. And that's based on emotion. I'll give you an example. I'll use the church as an example of emotion and mental. When people are in church, the emotion is from the music, what the pastor is saying, and the people around you that are hollering, making noise, and giving praises and what have you. That affects you emotionally to the point where you become so overwhelmed emotionally, it takes a mental effect on you. And that's when you see people so-called having this Holy Ghost and all of this type of stuff and talking in tongues and what have you. That's because the emotional level has become so overwhelming that it boiled over into the mental aspect. Because when you're on the floor shaking your legs, you're actually having a mental seizure. You're actually having a mental seizure based on the fact that you have become so overwhelmed emotionally. Once again, from the music and the pastor speaking, the hooping and hollering, jumping up and down and what have you. And that's the same way in relationships. You know, a lot of us have relationships where it's primarily based on emotion and no mental. Example, when your significant other, husband, wife, or whatever, give you some advice or tells you something, and you catch an attitude, and you every time, you know, you're dealing, the relationship is an emotional relationship. You know, some people call it being sensitive and all this type of shit, but it's really not connecting, having an even connection on an emotional and mental. Now, when you have a mental dominant relationship, that's a more positive, that's a more concrete relationship because it's based on principles. You're dealing with principles. You know, it doesn't matter what anyone says. If my significant other gives me some advice, I need to adhere to it. Leave the emotion part out of it. And go ahead and use the advice or suggestion that is given to me because that person has overwhelming level of love for me and wants to see me prosper. So I need to take heed to these suggestions. That's principle and that's mental. And that's what we got to get out, the emotional part. For instance, when one of our babies are murdered due to police terrorism or any source, any level of violence. You know, the marching in the streets, you know, and with the signs and we want justice and all this bullshit. That's the emotion. The mental is going to ensure that justice is served. Not wait on the same culprits and the family of the culprit to inflict justice impose justice, because it's not going to happen. That's why all of these cases would end up in acquittals. But when you deal with the mental part, which is principle, and you round up, your own military, and you give them an opportunity to turn themselves in, to confess to whatever took place and go ahead and deal with whatever punishment is supposed to be imposed by us, the black community. So we don't do that. We don't do that. And we're supposed to have our own military. Everybody else has their own military, with the exception of the black race. Even whites have not just the U.S. military, but they have thousands of militia groups, all in Iowa, Montana, all in the mountains, doing tactical training all day long. And they are part of the extermination of people of color. When we talk about the cracker, we're talking about they are included, because a lot of those militia groups, especially the larger ones, who are responsible for putting shit like fentanyl in the black community, posing as drug dealers, posing as big-time drug dealers, but have intentions, and their mission is to poison the black community. And let's take a look at just like the fentanyl. It just didn't pop up in the black community. That's bullshit. How do you think it got in the black community? It didn't just pop up out of nowhere or one person. That's bullshit. These militia groups are largely responsible for things of that nature, contaminating the water. They have access. They have personnel in all areas of society. Flint, Michigan, where they wanted to wipe out the black community in Michigan, and for purpose of gentrification and setting up FEMA camps and the like. And y'all keep thinking these motherfucking crackers are playing with y'all. That if you don't see it on the news, it's not happening. The media plays an integral part in the extermination of blacks by not informing you of anything but the tragedies that exist in the black community. Because all they say is such and such been shot, such and such been shot. The death toll, and it's black on black crime, and it's gang violence, and blah, 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 fucking blah. Which is a whole bunch of bullshit, because actually gun violence has went down like 50% within the last 15, 20 years. But they only show you the body count and the gang violence. They don't show you anything about black males going to Harvard, going to Yale, graduating, having PhDs, becoming doctors, lawyers, surgeons. They don't show any of that. The media is largely responsible, and they play an intricate role in the extermination of blacks by keeping them asleep mentally. iPhones, all this technology, this virtual reality, all this bullshit, cyberspace, which is not a reality, to keep you out there. And for some of you people that, are Facebook freaks and all of that bullshit, you're setting yourself up. You're setting yourself up. You're not dealing with reality. Because you may have 1,000 friends 1,000 Facebook friends, and not even one real friend out here in society. And that's not reality. That is not reality at all. So, and then a lot of you put all your business on Facebook. Every time you go through something, you put it on Facebook. You put some of your most sensitive, integral, sentimental, valued photos and the like on this motherfucking social media for the world to see. And all that shit is intelligence. All this shit is dated down. You know, I'm having a situation now where I'm dealing with some motherfucker that used my identity to receive taxes and all this. You know, this shit is real. So don't take it for granted. Do not take it for granted. But as far as relationships are concerned, you know, a person, you know, this is for you married people and those of you who are dating that, you know, you have a lot of deep feelings for individuals, you know, and they tell you that they love you, but they don't respect you because they don't love you. You know, respect comes with, if you can't say you love a person if you don't respect them, because respect equals love. For example, when when I'm out in the street and I hear the guy call his girl a bitch and all this stuff, you know, he doesn't love that sister. There's no love for that sister because he doesn't respect her by disrespecting her. You know, and no matter which way you try to tie it up and fix it, well, you know, she don't mind me saying that, you know, she don't mind me calling her that, and that's because she got some issues, you know, low self-esteem issues with her and self-hatred, where she's okay with being called a female dog. So, you know, there's no way out of that. You cannot explain, there's no explanation to justify that type of dialogue with somebody that you claim to love. That's bullshit. You know, so, and another one thing I wanted to discuss is how in Washington, especially in Washington, D.C., you know, Washington, D.C. has 4 quadrangs: northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. Now, the northwest portion of D.C. has a lot of black people that are, you know, they're into progress, if I may, opposed to the south side, southeast, where that's the most Ward 8 is the most povertized part of the city. And so with that poverty, you get a different attitude. You get a different vibe. You get a different energy when people are povertized. And the difference is in southeast, the south side, even the dress code is different. You know, you got niggas wearing dark color clothes, you know, gloomy colors, you know, they're more grimy. You know, a lot of them are not taking care of their hygiene in terms of their locks and, you know, and things of that nature, based on how povertized it is on that part of the city. You know, very, very grimy, very grimy. You know, backstabbing is an understatement. You know, and that's based on the poverty. The education level is very, very low. You know, even in the language, the lingo, shut, snap, shit. You know, and it's a gloomy, grimy, gritty type of mentality on that side of the city. Now, when you go to the other side, the northwest, northeast, which is called Uptown, you know, people have a more, the pace is more faster because they are into, you know, like a lot of the brothers and sisters, they, you know, their dress code is, they have high standards in their dress codes, you know, fresh New Balance and, you know, fresh jeans, blah, 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 and always on the grind in terms of making money or searching for jobs and what have you, you know, because the economy is a little more structured and a little more better than on the south side. And not to put the south side down, but that's how it is. Because any area, any inner city that has a high level of poverty, you know, and when I say poverty, I'm talking about, you know, the numbers in unemployment, the numbers in how many people receive relief, food stamps, benefits, you know, the Section 8 level, you know, how many people are incarcerated with that particular zip code, you know, how many stores and what's the major stores in that part of town, you know, because, for example, there's no Walmart on the south side, you know, but when you go uptown, you have Walmarts and all types of other stores and City Place and, you know, different types of stores. So employment will be much more attainable. So, you know, just something to drop, because now at the rate things are going now, you know, the entire black race, the entire black community is povertized. Let's not get it twisted, because you have people everywhere. You have brothers, you know, walking between cars in rush hour traffic with a busted McDonald's cup trying to collect change. You know, and once again, I always say that reflects the status and condition and mentality of the black community. When you go in every community, every black community, and you see one or two people at the lights with cups, it has nothing to do with them being alcoholics or addicts or whatever. They just represent of what the state of the black community is in. Because you may not have the cup out there, you know, but you may be in the same position. Example, you know, the guy out there has a cup. He's trying to get a rock, a crack rock. You're in the same position. You're in your house trying to scrape up or borrow money so you can get a rock. So it's almost, you know, equals out the same. With the exception for that brother may not have a place to lay his head at. You know. So, you know, that's just some tidbits about the how DC is, the status of the city. And for those of you blacks who are fortunate and have been blessed to be able to have escaped living below the poverty line, you know, don't ever forget, and I see a lot of you do, you forget to put back into the community. You know, you're the ones who, you know, roll your windows all the way up when your brother or sister comes with the cup. You never give anything. And you have it abundantly. You've been blessed by the Creator to have to live very comfortable. And how do you give thanks? By shitting on your brother or your sister that is more unfortunate than you. You know, I've heard people that, you know, I've heard wealthy blacks complain about certain things, certain prices, and, you know, and other minor things. You know, we have to understand that each day that we even get breath from the Creator is a good day, wonderful day to be breathing, to be able to speak, to be able to get around and do some of the things that you want to do, and mostly all the things that you need to do, because you are alive, regardless of your status. You know, you've been given another opportunity, you know, to make it. You know, everybody that's given life each morning is another shot at the title. It's how much work you're going to put into it to get there. But we got to work together. We have to work together. I was going to do something on, and I'm going to still do it, on the status of the bad boy record industry. How all the bad boy groups, everybody that was signed with Bad Boy, has had some type of tragedy come down on them. Whether they're bankrupt, whether they're broke, or whether they're dead. And I'm going to do that. I may do that later on, or I may do it tomorrow. But it needs to be done, because we have to expose those who are destroying. They are a cancer, you know, to black growth and development, to black liberation. And I always say, before we are able to go at this cracker, we got to get rid of a lot of niggas. It's just that simple. And so I'll be getting back with you all soon. You know, we're going to discuss some more issues. But I just wanted to throw that out there about relationships. And, you know, I've seen a lot of people that are in positions where significant others are not committed and faithful as the other. And I've gotten a couple of calls concerning that. And my suggestion is, if you are in a situation, a marriage or relationship or whatever, relationship, if someone wants to roll out, always remember, allow them to do that. Don't put your emotions in the process, because that's where somebody end up getting hurt. But if you deal with principles, you know, pack your shit and roll out. Make sure you got somewhere to lay first. Pack your shit and roll out, because, you know, for every man's or every woman's trash is another man or woman's treasure. Please believe that. You got to hold your head up in times of adversity, in times of trouble, when your heart is hurting, when you've been crushed. I know, I've been there. I know the feeling. And I'm giving you advice for those who may be going through that. You know, hold on. Hold on. Better days are coming. You know, like New Edition says, storms will come for sure. This we know for sure. But can you stand the rain? Because at the end of the rain, the sun comes out. So don't get consumed in the rain, in the storm, when you can just hold on. You know, I'm talking to those brothers and sisters who may have an issue like that, or may be in a situation like that. Just hold on. You know, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. You just can't act out. You just can't you just can't use an emotion, because with emotions, it's going to come a homicide, and you're going to end up being in trouble, or getting hurt yourself. You know, but deal with the principle. Move on till you get to where you need to be at. This your brother Shaka Sankofa. I'll be getting back with you all soon. Hotep, Black Power.